This is the Rise FC preview show. Of course, the event will be going down this Saturday at the Landing Sports Center in Chilliwack, BC. And here to preview the card is the man who's going to be in the play-by-play booth with myself, Darcy McBride. Darcy, how are you this morning?
I'm doing great, man. I can't wait. It's fight week in a whole new way for myself, and like you say, man, pumped to be in the booth with you this Saturday.
Yeah, it's going to be awesome. And this is a great card. In the main event, we had a switch up. It was supposed to be Sabah Fadai, the president of Rise FC, taking on Curtis Demars. Demars is out. Jajon Owens is in. If that name sounds familiar, fought in CES. He's fought a lot of really tough guys in his career. Let's start there first. And what I think is so cool about this fight is it is a catch weight of 165 pounds, a division that the UFC has been trying to push. What can you tell us about this matchup, and how do you see this fight sort of playing out?
Well, yeah, first thing with the weight, we want to form that division. Feel free to keep this piece of a video and tell me I'm wrong in a year, but I feel like that 65-75 division is coming. Breaking news, Dana doesn't always tell the truth. So we're gonna see what happens with that, and I want to think that we're ahead of the curve. Putting these weight divisions out where guys and girls alike can fight a little bit closer to walk around weight. Of course, this came about because we did lose a main event that was supposed to be a title fight, and it's kind of nice to be able to hitch a weight class to it rather than just having to do a fight outside of a weight class, at least for us ourselves. And you touched on Jajon Owens. Yeah, I mean, fully down to take the opportunity, which is not the easiest thing to find when you have Sabah Fadai in the main event. So, that part is intriguing to me as well to see what he's going to do here coming up north of the border.
And we'll see how Sabah looks, coming off that layoff, a couple years off, and running the show as well. How is that going to play into this matchup? We'll see. And Owens, like I mentioned, 16, 13-1 record, lots of experience on his side. So I'm really excited for this one. I think fans are definitely going to get their money's worth. The intrigue factor is what I like in this fight. We really don't know what's going to happen in this one. Getting to the title fight, the first title fight on the card, we've got Craig McLean defending his bantamweight strap against the flyweight champion who's going to be moving up, Chad Anhilger. Just your thoughts on this fight, and props for Chad moving up and trying to be a double champ, the Conor McGregor of Rise FC.
Yeah, so real quick before we move on from Sabah, but it ties into this. When he gave me the opportunity to jump on board here, he said, look, I want to fight on my own shows, and I'm going to need a hand to do that because I know the workload. So I said, okay, well, I'm going to make a splash here. And I've been watching him get into fight camp, and I know he's hyped and excited tonight. He said, 5 days away, baby, I'm back in the cage. So he's primed and ready. The layoff, this, that, and the other, he's had a family, his beautiful wife and daughter, Rochelle and Georgia, and he's doing his thing in his personal life, and now he's going to get back to that. And when he welcomed me into the fold, he said, let's make a splash with this event card. And first thing I thought is, hey, you just crowned two champs 10 pounds apart. And after speaking to Chad and Hellinger's camp and saying, what do you guys want to do next? He's like, well, if the right fight came about at 35, I'd take it. And I thought, okay, so I called the team over in Craig McLean's corner there, and I said, boys, what do you think of this? And so we set up the super fight, and first classic super fight in BC history, which is pretty cool. Two pro champions fighting in the province of British Columbia. Chad, of course, is a Calgary native, but this fight has fireworks all over it. Chad's on like a 6-fight winning streak right now. Craig McLean, has the striking of WKX and the mixed martial arts background of Revolution. Both of those teams, Champions Creed, of course, for Chad's side. This is main event worthy on, any card, under the big three kind of thing. So, of course, playing second fiddle to the president, because that's how we do over here. Sabah wanted to do the main event thing. But you've got Craig McLean and Chad Anhilger in a nationally ranked, very important fight.
And at the time we're recording this, we had WrestleMania last night. There is a bit of a wrestling storyline heading into this fight with Andrew Bard losing to McLean for the title in the last Rise card, a teammate of Anhilger. I just can't wait for Chad to go out there and get a little bit of revenge for his gym. And if Champions Creed sounds familiar, that is a gym that Hakeem Dawadu, the UFC featherweight, trains out of. So really good camps going toe-to-toe here. Revolution, Champions Creed, great fight in our co-main event. Sticking with the bantamweights, we've got Jamie Siraj, one of the top talents in this country, taking on Gabe Sagman. Very interesting fight here. What can you tell us about this matchup?
So Gabe Sagman, hailing out of Ontario there, Toronto area, was really pumped on this opportunity. We wanted to have Jamie out on the card. We went through a couple of matchups that didn't work out, and the name came up. And as I contacted, Crew Alim, his coach there out in Toronto, they were pumped. They were all over this fight. And I thought, okay, cool. And I wasn't super familiar with Gabe. After looking into him, this is a game fighter. This is going to be a fantastic matchup at 135 pounds. And we just talked about the title fight preemptively here. This is your number one contender fight, in the exception of the rule that Jamie and Craig both come out victorious. They're obviously teammates. We'd have to kind of, that probably won't happen. We'll do something else. But potentially you have, a table setting for that title fight here. And that's kind of how we want to do it. on every Rise card if we can help it to have a fight that sets up the next fight, next title fight especially.
And what's interesting about this fight for Jamie especially is, the youth and also his record. If he gets the win here 7-2, I mean, that's the type of thing that the UFC is going to be taking a look at. So consider this fight a potential audition for Jamie Siraj. Maybe getting that call up to the UFC with the win here. And a lot of people would have already seen Jamie if they haven't seen him fight. He's usually in the corner of Cajun Johnson. If you've watched any of his UFC fights, he's always in there. So Jamie's a guy who's looking to make his name just like his protege, or his mentor, I should say, Cajun Johnson.
Yeah, and he's a local guy fighting in Chilliwack for the first time in a long time. So the Gremlin's pumped to be back. We're excited to have him, and can't wait for Saturday night. Jamie Siraj gets to come out in front of his home fans for, I believe, the first time, if not first time in his pro career, first time in a long, long time to be fighting in Chilliwack.
Another great fight on this card. You've got Josh Kwiatkowski taking on George Alcala. Alcala, the American, coming into enemy territory here, and a really talented guy. I can't wait for this fight. I've interviewed both of these guys. I've actually interviewed pretty much everyone on this card, but these two guys both have the personality, and I think we're in for a potential fight of the night. George
Alcala and Josh Kwiatkowski, again, a guy who we went through a couple matchups for before we came across George Alcala, and I want to give a shout out to Jason House and Lance Spott at Iridium Sports Management. Guys have just been a joy to work with, and they're killing it in the game. So they were able to bring George to us. Josh Kwiatkowski, another local guy, a Surrey guy, and been in the lower mainland fight scene for quite a while. Went and made his debut over in Brazil, which was a pretty cool life experience for him. And now he's pumped to get back fighting in front of his, friends and family here in the lower mainland. If you don't know about Josh, his family's pretty involved in the acting and the movie scene. So he does a lot of, being a fan of his siblings as well in their successes and personal ventures. And I know when he fights, it's fight night. I know the whole Kwiatkowski family comes out in full force to support him. And in George Alcala, as I saw in your interview there, not only is he a pro mixed martial artist, but he's a top Uber driver in Las Vegas. The guy's out there getting busy, getting money, getting his training in. And we love to see that, where guys are outside the box a little bit, and when I signed him, I thought I knew of him as a Washington guy that was going to come up and fight. And so his story's kind of opened up too into a little bit more outside the cage. So when you say fight of the night, man, this one has the thumbprint of, something you don't want to miss live on FITE TV here next Saturday, or in the building if you're fortunate to have tickets.
This is a stack card, like I mentioned. Anything else we should be keeping an eye on? Anything else you're looking forward to on this card that we haven't touched on here as we're doing this sort of quick preview?
Couple of things. So first ever combat jiu-jitsu match in BC history is also happening. We've got a few firsts coming up here, Mr. Lynch. Not only are you and I hitting the booth for the first time ever, but we got Brody Dab and Manny Fernandez taking on each other in the first ever combat jiu-jitsu match, which I'm pumped for. Also, the infamous MMA, Killian Estes, coming up from Coeur d'Alene, Idaho, trains out of Trevor Prangley's AKA, taking on another hometown guy in the Persian Warrior, Saeed Mirzai, also known as Saeed Aiz Mirzai now. It's his new nickname. Saeed, you may remember, glorified amateur record going around the world, competing at the Nationals and the Worlds and winning. And Killian Estes, 10-0 as an amateur, 9 knockouts by some form of knockout. This is another banger for these guys, stepping into our 175-pound division. James Lynch, we're going outside the box here, baby.
I love it. That sounds great. Any details yet on the next Rise FC card, Rise FC 4, that you know about? Because I know you're working behind the scenes as well, not just in the broadcast booth.
Let me hang on. Can I speak to my colleague over here? Remember, can I let you in on a secret? Listen real closely. July 27th, 2019, Rise FC is coming to Vancouver Island, Victoria, BC, the Q Center. Matchups coming soon. We'll have a little more on this at the event here on Saturday. But July 27th, Victoria, BC, Rise FC 4 is coming your way. So be excited. We'll have some island product on there. And we'll also have, like I say, we have a couple of pretty exciting things to announce this Saturday. If you're part of the pay-per-view plan on FITE TV, you're going to see it exclusively. If you're in the building, we're going to have all kinds of announcements going on all weekend. And what can I say? We're excited for Rise FC 3, Rise FC 4. We've got 5, we've got 6 already planned in the works, and hopefully we hit 7 before 2019 is done.
And in the meantime, check it out this Saturday. If you live in the Lower Mainland, you got to watch MMA live. There's nothing like it. Landing Sports Center is where you can watch it in Chilliwack, BC. And if you can't make it, if you got a wedding to go to, I understand. FITE TV has got you covered. You can check out the card, the entire card on there, which again goes down this Saturday. I am James Lynch. He is Darcy McBride. Thanks for watching. We'll see you guys on Saturday night.